What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. Now, I was initially going to upload the second part of the decade end video, but I couldn't make it in time. I decided to let you guys pick which pay-per-view I review. Most of you guys picked Breaking Point 2009. I decided to watch it, and I will say that it's pretty decent. In this video, I talk about Breaking Point, but you already know that, so let's go back to 2009. Now, this pay-per-view is one of those pay-per-views you'll either like or you hate. Breaking Point 2009 was held in the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada on September 13th, 2009. Breaking Point 2009 had a buy rate of 169,000, which was down from the 211,000 of Unforgiven 2008. This was the year when WWE began naming pay-per-views after special matches like Hell in a Cell, TLC, etc. I don't like those names because I prefer those names like Unforgiven, No Mercy, those kinds of names. Breaking Point 2009 had the lowest buy rate of any WWE pay-per-view in 2009. Let me run down the marquee matches for the pay-per-view. CM Punk defended the World Heavyweight Championship against The Undertaker in a submission match. DX faced Legacy in a submissions count anywhere match, and Randy Orton defended the WWE Championship against John Cena in an I Quit match. So those are the top matches. This was around the time when Raw mostly sucked and SmackDown was on fire. ECW was a gem in 2009. You had Christian defend the ECW Championship in great matches, and in this pay-per-view he faces William Regal. So right now, let's get on to the event. The first match saw Jericho defend the Unified Tag Team Championships against the team of MVP and Mark Henry. Let me give you a refresher. Jericho formed after Edge went out with an injury, because, you know, Edge was initially going to be with Y2J. Chris Jericho formed a partnership with Big Show at Night of Champions. One thing I liked about Jericho is the fact that they were a main event tag team. They weren't mid-card. They main evented SmackDown at times, and they were one of the bright spots of 2009. MVP and Mark Henry were a team that was randomly made. You know, those guys who are paired with one another. Well, that's MVP and Mark Henry. MVP and Mark Henry were pretty over, I'm not gonna lie, because the crowd was cheering for them. The match itself was acceptable. It was clear that Jericho was gonna retain the titles. I liked when MVP and Chris Jericho won the match because of their pace, unlike Big Show and Henry, who were slow. Plus, I liked the chemistry between Jericho and Show. Show was there for Y2J at the end by KOing Henry so Jericho could cover him for the victory. That's how it was with Jericho. Big Show saved Chris Jericho on a number of occasions. I do think Mark Henry and MVP should have been higher up in the card, as at the time they were popular. There were some rumors at the time that Mark Henry was going to face Randy Orton for the title. That never came to fruition, and Mark Henry was just stuck in the mid-card scene. Like I said, the match was acceptable, decent, you know. I don't know why they chose this match to open the show though, because the next match deserved to open the show. Kofi Kingston defended the United States Championship against The Miz. I don't know why we didn't get a Miz versus Kofi match this year for the WWE title. They have a pass, so they could have just revisited it. Anyways, Kofi Kingston won the gold on the June 1st, 2009 episode of Raw from MVP. Kofi Kingston was amidst a 3-month title reign. The Miz, on the other hand, was kicked off Raw by John Cena. Miz found a way to get rehired by putting a mask and trunks on. Miz won the contract in a match against Eugene, and after the match, Miz revealed himself and he stopped wearing those hideous shorts. I guess they liked that look Miz had, cause from there on he never wore those shorts again. This match was randomly made. I don't think they even mentioned it on TV. I'm not sure though, cause they might have mentioned it on Superstars or something like that. This was around the time where the Miz began to hit his stride in WWE. Anyways, before the match, Miz cut a promo in French. He basically said that his name is The Miz and that he's awesome in French. The fans booed the hell out of him. As for the match itself, it was good. It started off slow and the crowd was quiet, but then over time they switched the pace and they entertained the crowd. The match started to get going right when the two were kicking one another. From there, it was a fun match and they began hitting some big moves. Kofi Kingston ended up winning this one with a Trouble in Paradise. Kofi a few weeks later would drop the title to The Miz. Following that entertaining match was the submissions count anywhere match between DX and Legacy. This was the second match between DX and Legacy. Let me talk about how this got started. As you know, Triple H was in a feud with Randy Orton. Legacy helped Orton retain the title at both the Bash and Night of Champions. A few weeks before SummerSlam, Legacy faced Triple H in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Legacy beat Triple H, and after the match, he began teasing the return of DX. The week after that, DX reunited officially for the first time in a year. DX faced Legacy at SummerSlam, and I liked that match. I enjoyed it. DX would end up winning that match, and after that, the feud continued. So now, they were gonna face off in a submissions count anywhere match at Breaking Point. This was probably the first match of its kind, because I don't remember a submissions count anywhere match. I love the promo before the match because they used Legacy's theme song and they used the pay-per-view theme song Still Unbroken. I'm not home, I'm not, you know that song. Before the match, Shawn Michaels was booed by Montreal. This was 12 years after the screw job, yet they still hate him. During DX's promo before the match, the Montreal crowd chanted, "You screwed Brett" to HBK. As for this match, I liked it. I liked the fact that they could go out anywhere in the arena and lock in a submission. The best part of the match was when Shawn Michaels locked Rhodes in a camel clutch while Rhodes was in the chair and Triple H locked in a Boston Crab, and there was nowhere for Rhodes to go until DiBiase made the save. Another good part of the match was when HBK was pushed off the stands in the crowd and he fell onto some padding. This would end up giving Legacy the advantage. The duo went after Triple H and they ended up in the back. Rhodes and DiBiase tried to wear down Triple H, but to no avail as Triple H delivered a spine buster to DiBiase onto a table. After Legacy isolated Triple H, they went after Shawn Michaels. Also, DiBiase slipped on his way back to the arena. I just wanted to mention that. Rhodes delivered a body slam to Michaels on the stage, and Michaels did try to fight back, and he even hit the Sweet Chin music on Rhodes. A few minutes later, though, Rhodes locked HBK in a figure 4 on the steel post. Ted DiBiase then locked in the $1 Million Dream, and boom, Shawn Michaels tapped out. Triple H tried to crawl to the ring, but he couldn't make it on time. This was a monumental victory for Legacy. They needed the victory because if DX beat them, then they'd look like some rookies that were just with Randy Orton, that's all. As we all know, DX ended up facing Legacy inside Hell in a Cell. I won't go in depth about that because most of you guys know what happened. Like I said, Legacy needed the victory. The next match was a Singapore Kane match between the Great Khali and Kane. I mean, I think you know how good this match was. Another thing to know, I feel like these guys feuded for like a year because it lasted so long. It lasted from like June all the way to September. Anyways, this match wasn't good as expected, but I believe this was the final match in the feud. Kane ended up winning this one by delivering a chokeslam to Khali. These two already had some boring matches and I wasn't expecting anything heading into this one. Next up was the ECW Championship match. Christian defended the gold or the silver against William Regal. Let me just say that ECW was really great in 2009. You just have to get past the name. That's all. Christian returned to WWE on the February 10th, 2009 episode of ECW. Initially, Christian was supposed to return on SmackDown where he'd be revealed to be the guy that caused Jeff Hardy trouble. Basically, he was going to be the one who was behind the series of incidents Hardy had. Instead, Christian returned as a face and he feuded with Jack Swagger. Captain Charisma captured the ECW Championship twice during his run on the brand. The feud between Regal and Christian started a few months earlier. The two had this match at SummerSlam where Christian beat Regal in like 5 seconds or like 8. Regal would get his rematch after beating Christian on the August 25th episode of ECW. So this is how we got this match at Breaking Point. This match was solid. Now, Christian's matches are usually consistent and this one obviously delivered. It wasn't great, but it was good for what it was. ECW's roster at the time was pretty thin, so this was one of the best matches they could put on pay-per-view. Now, I'd prefer a fatal 4-way match including Zack Ryder and Shelton Benjamin. It probably would have been a banger, I don't know. It could have been a good match. Like, this Regal and Christian match could have been done on ECW TV, but whatever. They had to kill time. Christian ended up winning this battle by dodging Regal's knee and hitting the kill switch for the victory. Before I talk about the next match, let me mention that Dolph Ziggler interrupted Pat Patterson. Ziggler would proceed to attack Patterson, but then the new IC champ, John Morrison, came out to make the save. I don't know why these two didn't have a title match at the pay-per-view. I do know that it'd make this pay-per-view much better since this was the summer of Morrison. He was awesome in the summer of 09. After that was the money match. Randy Orton defended the WWE Championship against John Cena in an I Quit match. Now, from what I've seen, this match is either hit or miss. You like it or you hate it. There's no in-between. Now, I'll get to my opinion in a minute. This feud is so well known. It started in 2007. This edition of the Cena and Orton feud began in July. John Cena won the right to face Randy Orton at SummerSlam. The match at SummerSlam was a joke. At least that's what I heard, because I never watched it before. I do know about the ending of that match, though. Anyways, that match got restarted like 3 times. Near the end of the match, Cena locked Orton in the STF, then some fan ran into the ring and dived onto the referee. Security removed him from the ring, and Cena just stood there as Orton sat outside the ring. Cena went to grab Orton when Orton capitalized on this by RKOing Cena on the ropes and hitting another one inside the ring to retain the title. That fan was later revealed to be Brett DiBiase, Ted's brother. Now, I didn't realize they restarted this match 3 times, so I was shocked to see that they actually did that. Due to the way Orton retained the title, Mr. McMahon booked the Viper in an I Quit match against John Cena at Breaking Point. Now, about the match itself, I really love it. It may be a Super Cena match, but the way Orton acted during this match, it made it top notch for me. He was cruel. He was sadistic. He was vicious. I think Orton peaked in 09. He was bald and he was evil. He was crazy. Man, Orton was amazing in 2009. Orton during the match handcuffed John Cena and he used a kendo stick on him. That was brutal as Orton whacked Cena with a kendo stick. Like, that's brutal. That was as brutal as it was gonna get in the PG era. You weren't gonna see blood, but that's as close as you were gonna get. Cena ended up escaping, but Orton handcuffed him again on the other post after the Viper blasted Cena in the head with a chair. This was around the time where WWE was PG, yet they still allowed chair shots to the head. Cena ended up escaping again after he backdropped Orton. John Cena grabbed the key and then he cuffed himself with Orton and it was a Cena comeback. Later on, Orton in the ring hit a sudden RKO on Cena, and then he tried to grab the key, but then Cena woke up and locked Orton in the STF, and the Viper quit. So John Cena is the new champion. Like I said, I really like this one. Orton and Cena had some enjoyable matches, but in 2009, they faced off a lot. Some of those matches flat out sucked. I didn't like the Cell match that followed this one, but I really loved the Iron Man match. And in the Iron Man match, I liked how Orton tapped out in the beginning so he didn't have to wear himself down. Anyways, this is match of the night for me. I don't know about you guys though, you may not like the booking because if you think about it, Cena basically nullified all of Orton's work during the match. Cena proved that he's Super Cena in this match, and yeah, even though he was Super Cena, I like this match. Now, I gotta ask you guys, was this your favorite match of the night or your least favorite? And the main event, CM Punk defended the World Heavyweight Championship against the returning Undertaker in a submission match. CM Punk had just got rid of Jeff Hardy and he was the most hated man on SmackDown. This scumbag mocked Jeff Hardy by dressing up as him. At SummerSlam, the Undertaker appeared from nowhere and he tombstoned CM Punk to end the show. Punk was then booked to face the Dead Man at Breaking Point. Earlier that night, CM Punk was interviewed by Eve Torres. Punk said that no one thinks he has a chance at beating the Undertaker. Punk then mentioned that he beat Jeff and that Jeff is gone. Punk took a jab at Jeff Hardy by mentioning his arrest from a few days earlier. I just wanted to mention that because I just learned about this. I didn't know Jeff Hardy was arrested at that time. During CM Punk's interview, the lights went out. He was scared of the dark or something. He thought the Undertaker was gonna come out of nowhere. Then when the lights turned back on, we find Jimmy Wang Yang. Yang said that he was joking, but then Punk headbutted him and he attacked him. About the main event, CM Punk should have faced Matt Hardy in my opinion. It does sound kind of stupid, but Punk had some momentum and it was kind of detrimental to him that he faced Undertaker this early because sooner or later CM Punk was going to lose the title to the Undertaker. It wasn't like he was going to beat him. Now, this match was disappointing and it was short. I don't think this should have been the main event. I think either Legacy and DX or Cena and Orton should have main evented. Plus, the ending of this match was a rehash of Survivor Series 97. The Undertaker won the match by making Punk tap out to the Hell's Gate. Theodore Long then came out and said that the Hell's Gate move was banned a few years ago by Vicky Guerrero and that the match will be restarted. CM Punk would counter the last ride a few seconds later and he'd lock the Undertaker in the Anaconda Vice. All of a sudden, the referee rang the bell. The Montreal thing is something they do once in a while. Punk stood next to Teddy Long proudly to end the pay-per-view as JR said that the Undertaker did not submit. Punk even mocked the Undertaker on the stage. After the event, Teddy Long apologized to the Undertaker on that week's SmackDown. Teddy Long was escorted to his limo by security. As Long entered the limo, he told his limo driver to get going. Then all of a sudden, the door gets locked and the Undertaker says the $1 million quote, "Buckle up, Teddy." This was funny even though it wasn't meant to be. Long later that night was locked in a casket. Once CM Punk opened the casket, Teddy Long announced that the Second City Saint, I don't know if he was called that at the time, will face the Undertaker inside Hell in a Cell. Punk lost that match in 9 minutes. Think about it. A Hell in a Cell match lasted 9 minutes. Punk lost the title because he refused to dress professionally overseas. He asked if John Cena followed the dress code. It was seen by management as Punk thinking it was on the level of John Cena. This is a weird story to me. Anyways, Punk would descend down the card after Hell in a Cell and he proclaimed himself the straight edge savior. And that's Breaking Point. Now, my opinion on the show is that it had two great matches. The Legacy and DX match and the I Quit match. Now, if you don't like one of those matches, it's gonna kind of ruin your rating. Like, it's gonna ruin your opinion on this show. I do think it was decent, but some stuff on this show, like, it kind of ruined the show basically, like the main event. If that main event was a little bit better, then this show would be talked about more. So yeah, my favorite match was the I Quit match. And what was your favorite match of the night? That's it for this video. Make sure you hit a AA on the like button and perhaps a RKO on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.